Hello everyone, welcome to Series 2 of the GBA Lightbulb Sessions. The Great British Entrepreneur Awards, in association with BT Skills for Tomorrow, have designed a free live stream series of Lightbulb Sessions to support small businesses and entrepreneurs with insightful and advice-driven sessions, featuring some of the UK's brilliant entrepreneurial minds to illuminate your path to entrepreneurial success. You can find out more about BT Skills for Tomorrow by heading to our website at www.bt.com/skills for tomorrow or by clicking on the link in the comments section. In today's session, Great British Entrepreneur Awards Head of Content Jonathan Davis will be speaking with CEO and founder of Brand Advance, Christopher Kenna. Chris will discuss the true value of diversity and inclusion in the modern age of business, from day-to-day operations to marketing and campaigns. He will look at how brands can build a diverse culture with authenticity and the importance of leadership in achieving company-wide diversity. There is an opportunity to ask questions during this session. If you have a question you'd like to ask, you can pop this in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and we'll do our best to answer these throughout the session. And with that, I'll pass over to our host today, Jonathan Davis.
Yeah, thanks, Chloe, and Chris. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I guess it'd be a great place to start to learn a little bit more about yourself, about the business, and you know what you guys do.
Yeah. So I'm obviously Chris Kenna, the founder of Brand Advance Group now, which is a group of companies that help brands reach diversity at scale. So what we basically do is just make sure that brands' marketing campaigns, their digital campaigns, etc., the data they use, the insights they use, is all about reaching everyone in society. Because I don't know, marketing's lost its way a little bit. You know, there's one simple remit given to a marketeer, and that remit is to help said brand or service reach everyone that it possibly can that might want to use said brand or service. But things like keyword blocking and just the data available, or what is deemed, who in society is deemed a potential consumer and who is not, you know, has meant that brands and marketeers haven't been reaching everyone that they should be equally, you know, because that's how marketing should work. So that's what we do. And it's a group of companies. So we've got Brand Advance, which is a global diversity media network. We have DECA, which is a diversity media consultancy. So works with brands to look at what their opportunity could be and how they can best take advantage of that. And then we've got Sentiment, which is a data and analytics company where we've got lots of data and analytics on different demographics, different communities, so like Black and Indian and Pakistani and Muslim, disability, etc., etc. And then the fourth one being a platform called Cultural Intelligence, which agencies can use themselves and brands, in-house teams can use themselves to plan out plans that make sure that their brand is going to be put in front of all of these demographics. So that's it in a nutshell.
Excellent. So certainly a lot going on then. So I mean, obviously there's a kind of societal focus on the business, but tell me about the kind of inspiration. I know that was quite a personal focus for you.
Yeah. I've talked about it a lot, so I'll keep it really simple. I've got two kids. My daughter's white, my son's mixed race, and advertising blocks my son, you know, just with words like hood, black man, interracial, you know. They block his dad because later in life I came out for gay. So when they block words like gay and lesbian and Muslim, stuff like that, but they don't block my daughter pretty much in any media that she finds herself, just because of how she culturally identifies, the kind of media that she consumes doesn't get blocked at all because it's deemed safe, white, mainstream. So that's wrong, and that's as simple as it is. Built a company to right a wrong that an industry that I love seems to have drifted itself into this wrong way of doing things, this wrong outlook, you know. And then recently it's become more, everybody's understood how wrong it is. because we started calling low-paid, low-skilled workers key workers, same people, black bus driver, Indian lady in Tesco's, all of that. So now society, and then Black Lives Matter came along, happened 4 years ago as well, but it was just a black problem 4 years ago. Then all of a sudden it became an everybody's problem in the last 12 months. And I think we've all just realised that actually we may have been doing things a little bit wrong, and the Great Reset means we can start doing it right. And shame on us if we continue to do it wrong when now we know the error of our ways. So that's what my business is about. We just help people to do better. You know, we haven't reinvented the wheel. We've not found some great marketing and the great answer to marketing. We've just helping agencies, and they're in turn helping their brands to make sure that they do that one fundamental thing that marketing's meant to do, which, like I said at the beginning, is reach everyone that could possibly want to buy your brand. That's it. It's really simple. Shouldn't be blocked because you're black.
Yeah, absolutely. I listened to a podcast that you appeared on in October last year, and you spoke about how diversity has become, I think the phrase that you used was commercially imperative in the past sort of 10, 15 years. And you mentioned the Black Lives Matter movement over the last 4 years and last year, and we'll touch on that in a sec. But you started your business around 4 years ago now. How has the conversation changed with brands from when you started Brand Advance right up until sort of the early parts of last year, before the Black Lives Matter protest really kicked off again last year?
Yeah. So it's about 3 years business, and I would say how's it changed? It's changed in every way. At the beginning, we were banging on the doors of all the brands and the agencies to say, you know, this is a problem that you have, but, you know, 9 out of 10 doors, or even 9.5 out of the 10 doors didn't think they had a problem. Marketing's been working for now. I've managed to grow my brand by X amount each year. So I'm obviously doing something right. Thank you very much. I understand what you're saying, but cheers, Chris. It's not really one for us. And that was pretty much the response from everybody. Then I think the world set itself on fire, literally. And we all we had everything stripped away from us, and we all looked at ourselves and at our lives and who we are as people, and asked ourselves questions that we may never have asked ourselves before, you know. And then when the murder of George Floyd, etc., happened, then we asked ourselves even more important questions. Am I racist? Do I facilitate racism, institutional racism, you know, stuff like that? Once these questions started being asked personally of people, and it started to be spoken about so much more, then it became, then it's drifted into the, you know, commercial as well. So, and commercial for us is marketing. And I think, well, how can I put it? I don't think it can survive the next 5 years without, you know, without fundamental change as a business. You just have to look at some of the businesses that have gone now. And I know, let's take Topman and Topshop, for example. You know, I know it's got many things that is the reason why it's not around anymore. But one of the reasons I didn't go shopping there, and I would much prefer to just go and buy, dare I say it, something that's probably a bit cheaper and lasts not half as long from Boohoo or something, would be that there was people that looked like me wearing the clothes on the Boohoo website. You know, I could see myself in it because I literally could see myself in it. Whereas, you know, you walk into Topshop and Topman, and it was people that didn't look like me, you know. And I think that relevance, that's on a very small scale, but I think that relevance has gone into everything now. We've got cancel culture, we've got the rise of the conscious consumer, we've got, you know, a lot of reasons why a consumer might not buy your brand anymore. Just because you are a brand doesn't mean you have a right to be anymore. I think you used to, and it sort of was a given. But now you've got to work for it, and I think working for it is making everyone in society, and we're not the minority anymore as well. Like, come on, 55% of the city I'm sat in right now is non-white. You know, if you put LGBT and then ethnic, different ethnic diverse groups together and disability, you know, that's a demographic as well. 12.4 million people with a registered disability in the UK, you know, but how many ads do you see that really engage that demographic? How many products do you see that are really made for that demographic? I think, was it Nike or somebody made a shoe recently, a trainer recently, that for people with a disability that could get the shoe on.
The kind of folding.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Like, that's awesome. But it's 2021 since when I came out. Like, God, you've had so long to sort that out. Well, only now we think it's important that people that might struggle to stick a shoe on needed a trainer for themselves. It's just, yeah, I think now we've all got to do better. And businesses more than ever, you know, whether it's sustainability, climate change, making sure that their ads are not funding hate, or not, you know, all of that. Do it or die, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I asked about how the conversation has changed from when you started the business to, you know, the early parts of last year. When the protest began last year after the killing of George Floyd, like you mentioned, we saw so many businesses and individuals talking about, like you said, changing their behavior, acknowledging things like unconscious bias and their privilege, and particularly on social media, you know, you saw people just posting black squares on their Instagram and saying, I'm not posting anything today. We're all taking the day in the business to learn and better ourselves. How has the conversation then changed from that point to where we are now?
I think people have gone from being allies to advocates. There are people, I'd even go as far as to say there's a person in every brand. There's multiple people in most agencies that have gone from being allies, which was good a few years ago, to being an actual advocate now, to say, actually, it's not just good enough for me to stick a black box on my social. I need to live by it as well. And when I see an injustice, or when we send a keyword block list to our agency, and we can see that it's got words that reference race, religion, or sexual orientation, just because someone has deemed them to be brand unsafe, I need to question that. I need to make sure that we are living by the very principles that black box for 24 hours meant. You know, because I have to live with being black all day, every day. Like, it doesn't wash off, it doesn't stop. You know, I don't just get to choose when I want to be a black ally. I've got to be an advocate every day because I've got to live through it every day. So I think people in business are becoming advocates more there. And with that, you know, it's sort of Pandora's box as well. You've got people like gobbing off left, right, and centre, you know, and I'm in a very privileged position where the industry is listening to me and writing about it, letting me have my voice. Like yesterday on Cadbury's pre-meg, and you know, when things are wrong, we say they're wrong. What are you going to do about it? And people need to answer the question. Or, yeah, I think, like I said, cancel culture, etc. People will drift away. We now don't want to just talk about the problem. The problem's been talked about for long enough. I've given 38 years of my life to talk about the problem. Can we just get it fixed now? We all know what the answer is. I know that it takes time because lots of big businesses need time to adjust. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest, they've had enough time. Like, you know, diversity, inclusion, cultural marketing, these are not things to aspire to. These are ground zero. Like, that's it. You know, we should already be inclusive. Every time we wake up, our whole being should be that I am going to make sure anybody I come into contact with feels, you know, respected. That's inclusion. Yeah, if we all just did that every day, if we made sure, you know, our policymakers in a company or in a brand and senior leadership, if we just made sure everything we were doing implemented that first strategy of making sure everybody felt included, in every way, and we took away things, you know, if we're even little things that we use in business, like a white list is good and a black list is bad, and if you've done bad, you've got a black mark against your name. Get rid of them words. Why do we have to associate black with bad and white with good? You know, that's advocacy. You know,
absolutely.
Sorry, I was just going to say, questioning things like that, and I think, why has the conversation moved along? Because people like me get to be CEOs now, and to build multi-million-pound businesses, and to hold other CEOs to my standards as much as they can hold me to theirs. You know, there's an etiquette of business. I need to abide by that. There's an etiquette of life. They need to abide by that.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful listening to you then answering that question. And in terms of, obviously you mentioned at the start of your business journey, you were trying to bang down the door to get people to listen. Ever since last year, have you found that more businesses are coming to you and saying, we need help, what do we need to do? Help us. Yeah,
and that's good. And that's humbling for a business to do. You know, if you're a 30, 40-year brand, that multi-billion-pound brand, you know, you are the Unilevers and the Diageos, etc. Flavored hamster. You know, it's going to be humbling, because you've built a billion-dollar company, you know, multi-billion-dollar company. So it's going to be hard to say that maybe there's something we can do better, but brands and agencies are saying it over and over, and we're working, you know, with brands across the world now to do better. And because we all can, like, I can do better. I might feel like we do quite well in some parts, you know, in business, and also I do quite well in that I feel like I'm going to leave the world a better place than I found it. But I've got learning to do as well. I have to change my outlooks on some things. I need, you know, I need to not be so angry, you know, because I'm talking about things that feel so personal, all of that. So answer to your question, yes, brands are changing, but we all need to change as well. We all have our part. It's not just for the CEO. It's not just for the senior leadership team. It's for everybody within a company to question things. If you're in a meeting and somebody says, "Oh, can we just make sure that's on the blacklist?" You know, somebody just goes, "No, I'm really sorry. Can we just choose another word? Like, there's a really good word, inclusion or exclusion list. Can we just use that?" I just don't feel comfortable saying, you know. I know you'll be amazed. You know, I've done it in meetings, and I've seen my team do it in meetings, and I've actually been in meetings where our client has done it to their agency and said, whoa, stop. Please don't use that word. We've already agreed that, you know, as a business team, we're not going to use words like that. And I think that's where things will change. And like I said, you know, let's not have a 5-year plan for a change or a 10-year plan. Let's sort of go for a 5-day plan or a 10-day plan, because we've already realized that overnight we can call low paid, low skilled workers, key workers. We can clap them from our balconies every Thursday. You know, the world can shift. We can take every brand that we've ever known away from ourselves, and we can still survive on Tesco's and Lidl. You know, we don't need all of the other brands. So if we can change everything, we can work from home. The world can still keep spinning even when it felt like it had stopped. If we can do that, then I'm pretty sure we can accelerate making people feel included when they turn up at the office, or whether it be virtual or in person. I'm pretty sure we can move that along. You know, we don't need to take years to get to that point when we can change everything.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, like you said there, it's sometimes very small changes that don't require any effort that can make such a massive difference to the kind of day-to-day. And so do you think that, you know, you mentioned there about using certain words in meetings and things like that. Do you think that this is now kind of seeping into business culture as a whole? Like, so you're going from diversity in marketing to now going into diversity. Is the whole business culture where you know, some of the before perhaps businesses that you were working with, how do I word it, kind of, were they coming to you already diverse, or in the kind of culture, or are they kind of coming to you working on their marketing and seeing that as their next step, like, right, now we're going to work it into the whole culture?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think diversity and inclusion, you know, I try not to use it that much in what we do as work, because we're just helping people reach everyone in society, just doing what marketing should be. That's all we're doing. It's just extra reach. Now, because D&I always, straight away, you think about getting your house in order. You know, you think about gender pay gaps and race pay gaps and how many people from a certain community are on my team, you know, whereas it's so much more than that. And I think we need to talk less, or I am going to. I'm not saying what other people should talk, because other people, you know, if we're all stepping in the right direction, they can choose how they want to step there. I think, but for me, I'm going to talk less about D&I and just the power of, and talk more about the reason why I think my company has grown so fast. Well, it's not the reason why I know the reason why is because we approach our clients' problems, the same problems that they ask of all their agency partners, etc. But we approach our clients' problems differently, because life has led us to a different point to get an answer to that question. You know, so that diversity of thought, that for me, you know, I come from 10 years in the military, so every problem is, you know, two planks, a barrel, well, two barrels, a plank, and a bit of rope, and a river. You know, every problem is for me. I just think of every problem that methodically. It's always a military problem, and I figure it out in my head in a military style. How am I going to get across that river? Okay, well, I'll put the barrels down and the plank on top, or actually, what if we use an extra person and they hold the barrel and we put the plank on their back? That's not the best way to do it, but you know, things like that. And then I've got, you know, we've got people in our team from all different demographics, from all different communities, and we all sit in on a client problem, you know, which is called a pitch, but it's a client problem. They've got a problem, they've asked us to give them a solution, and they're going to choose the one that they feel right. And our responses can sometimes be so different to everybody else's, and it's not because there's any cleverer people sat in my office, because, you know, they are clever people. I'm certainly not dulling that down, but it's just the different path in life that got them to be sat in that room is why they thought of a different answer. And if everybody's, you know, if the other companies that you're pitching against have all got people that have sort of took a similar life, not that that's wrong, because you need that life in the room as well, but then you may just be coming up with the same answer to the problem. And I think that's, if we all start thinking about that, thinking about how we can solve our clients' problems differently, because we've got different diverse thought and communities and cultures that are all feeding into what the answer could be, then I think we don't even need to use the word D&I. We just, you know, you'll do anything that makes your business a more profitable business. You'll do anything that makes your business a faster growing business. And if that is proven over and over and over again by study from Google to Kantar to, we've released a study that proves that that happens, then be a silly business leader to ignore it, whether you're a startup or not.
Yeah, and on that point, so do you think that brands are really now starting to wake up to the thinking that this isn't just something that you need to do because it's the right thing to do, because it's the good thing to do, but there's actually real bottom line benefit to their business, which is the overall goal that they've always had? Do you think more businesses are actually waking up to that realization?
Yeah. You know, I could give you a big waffled out answer, but yes, it's the answer. They have to. You know, look, I use that as an example at the beginning because I'm from Manchester, and I remember when Boohoo started, right? And it had hardly any staff, and we had an office next to Boohoo in the Northern Quarter. And for the first few years, Boohoo's marketing was a big pink bus with Boohoo written on the side of it, and it went to Manchester Pride. And then they would do like a fashion show thing, and you could go on the bus and see the fashion, and they did a fashion show outside the bus, etc. I remember it for 2 years. You know, nobody else was doing that. No other brand was going to Manchester Pride. Why would they? You know, and well, look at Boohoo now compared to compared to any of its rivals, really. I know down south you've got your own version, ASOS, but it's done just similar things. Like, you know, that it was called guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Was it really guerrilla marketing, or is it just marketing?
Yeah, just good marketing.
No, yeah. Good marketing.
Yeah.
You know, guerrilla marketing seems to be anything that goes for anybody that's not deemed the mainstream, but actually isn't good marketing calling everybody the mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking back to Christmas, we had Sainsburys who were having to defend themselves effectively and criticize a slew of racist comments about their advert that just showed a black family at Christmas. There were people saying that they didn't feel represented, that they were going to boycott the supermarket. Are you worried at all that there's a danger that there's brands that want to increase their diversity in the marketing, their diversity in their culture, but at the same time they're concerned about that aspect of it and going, look, we're worried about alienating a big portion of our customer base. We don't want those sorts of headlines. And if you are seeing that, if you are worried about that, what's your kind of message to them?
I would ask a couple of fundamental questions. Number one, if you are a potential Sainsbury's and you are seeing their comments on Twitter, which are, why did Sainsbury's not use a black family instead of a real family? Do you really want them as a customer? That's my first question. You know, if that's going to put you off, is that the kind of customer you want? But are you going to stop doing something because someone wants to know why Sainsbury's used a black family instead of a real family? Because I don't want them to be a customer of my business. I don't think there isn't that many people out there that saying that have that mindset, that making a stand like I don't need to, like Sainsbury's did, and like all the other supermarkets did straight after, where they said, actually, anybody that made a comment on Sainsbury's ad, we don't actually want you to come and shop at our shops either. You know, they publicly made that statement, which was awesome. I think as well, you have to look at it for what it is as well. I mean, there was all that furore, but the ads before that, you know, where people were saying, why is this not representing real families in Britain? The ad before that was a family of carrots. You know, like, we've got to look at this for what it really is. These people are writing racist comments because that family does not represent their Britain, but the family of carrots didn't get one. Yeah. Late. So you sort of got to look. I think brands need to be realistic and say, and also look at the PR benefit after it. Actually, I read an article yesterday about that, and about the Cadbury's. You know,
the Cadbury's example was the next one that I was gonna raise as well.
Yeah, because you know the Cadbury's one as well. Well, it's two guys kissing, you know, and sharing a cream egg. Like, there's people saying, oh, it's sexualizing the cream egg, blah blah blah. It's like, oh my god, have you ever seen an ad? Come on, this is not the first time like some kind of sexual innuendo has been used, and it wasn't a sexual innuendo. Two guys kissing isn't a sexual innuendo. No. When you're not going to complain about people, you know, wearing underwear, which is very sexual, and that doesn't get a complaint. I think we've just got to. We're picking them out, and they are becoming headlines because their allies have become advocates. That's why. Because the people writing the articles about it are as disgusted as we are to read it, and they want to write an article about it now. That's their way of voicing this is wrong, you know. People like me as well. I wrote a big article in the Drum about it yesterday, and you know, because I don't want to sit there and not say anything, just be angry at the world myself for this what for me I would deem stupidity. I want to voice it out now. And I think lots of people are like that now, and the PR, let's strip everything away. Let's go back to commercials again. The amount of PR you get when a few bad apples start going at your campaign, and then the rest of society backs you up, go buy it.
Yeah.
Cadbury's would have spent millions on the PR they've had in the last 3 days. Millions, tens of millions. And Sainsbury's the same as well, you know, and to have a campaign where Sainsbury's can say that Tesco's and Lidl and Aldi all backed them up and pushed a Sainsbury's campaign, can't buy that. So yeah, I think the answer is the benefits well outweigh the negative impact, if there is even a tangible negative impact. I think who looks more negative on when there's racist Twitter remarks underneath your brand's Twitter account? I don't think the brand looks negative.
Yeah.
The only person that looks negative is the person that wrote the racist tweet. So
yeah. And just popped into my head on the flip side of that, then, you know, you're talking about obviously you said the effectively free PR that the likes of Sainsbury's and Cadbury's will have got from these campaigns. Do you think the brands will actually start to try and provoke that reaction to do that?
Yeah, but that's marketing. You know, I think we don't want to get so that society sort of praises some and slams others, and, you know, what was the true meaning behind you doing that? I mean, the true meaning behind any brand campaign, no matter how much of a societal change it might shift, no matter what underrepresented demographic it shows, the true meaning is to sell more brand products. Let's be honest, you know. So I think we need to worry less about why a brand's doing it, as long as they continue to do it. You know, I think you can't buy authenticity. There's no way to just be authentic. Authenticity comes from sustained and credible speaking to a certain demographic. You know, a lot of brands do stuff with pride and then disappear for the rest of the year. That's changing now, you know. And so as long as brands continue to speak to these demographics, continue to make sure that through every avenue, you're not just showing a demographic, but having words in your keyword block list that might block, you know, the media from that demographic, as long as you're making sure that you truly are allowing all of your communications to reach everyone in society, then the person sat, you know, in the boardroom that signs off that big budget for your campaign, who cares what the reason was inside their mind? They're going to change. You know, media, advertising, and brands that fund it have the ability to change everything fast. You think of Clunk Click, you know, in the 70s, no one was really wearing a seatbelt. An ad came out that Clunk Click, I forgot how it goes now, but I think it's called Clunk Click. And now everybody wears a seatbelt. You know, marketing and the brands, or all governments that fund that marketing, have the power. You know, marketing can lift a government, drop government. What do you call it? So yeah, what's the word when marketing's done for government purposes? What's that word? Totally gone out of my head.
Just popped out of my head as well.
I know, what do you call it? Anyway, you know, that propaganda.
Spin. Someone's just put it in the spin.
Yeah, but propaganda, you know, what is that? That's just really good marketing done for a very bad reason. You know, like, it gets whole societies to change and to think something, and it can build governments and topple governments, and you know, there's great responsibility that comes with that. And I think brands can really use their ad dollars to make sure that they can fund the right thing, can change society, and don't be put off with your power. Your power to change society will also make people remember your brand. Use it. You know?
Yeah. Really quickly before we move on to probably one final question and then a couple of questions from the audience. You've mentioned keyword blocking quite a few times, and just for the benefit of anyone who isn't sure what exactly that is, could you just quickly explain that for us? And
So, brands, when they're going to do some digital advertising, can give a list of words to the agency, to the digital advertiser, and say, don't put my brand, so the creative that I've made for this ad, don't stick it next to any articles that have these words in them. And they have a big long list of words. And a lot of the time, the words in these lists are like black man, hood, Muslim, interracial, gay, lesbian, you know, and them words are above words like murder, gun, you know, even worse words. So, yeah, that's what a keyword block list is. It's that list of words that a brand says, please block my content from going anywhere near, you know. And a lot of these have got things like Manchester, one of the most blocked, you know, because there was one tragic incident, you know, and now my city's blocked by most brands. They're starting to take it off now, but I mean, you don't block a whole city of culture and music. So no content with the word Manchester can be monetized by that brand, you know, and you would too. And it has a real negative impact because it means that the funding of good journalism, the funding of good content on the internet doesn't happen as good because they can't get any of the money because there's keyword blocking, etc. So yeah, that's what that is.
Excellent, thank you. So I've got one final one before we go on to the audience questions. So last year I interviewed one of the previous winners of the Great British Entrepreneur Awards, Celia Hodson, who's the founder of Hey Girls, which, for anyone who doesn't know, is a period product social enterprise that provides sanitary products for women and girls in poverty. And I asked her what success looked like to her. And she said something that I thought was really, really interesting. And she said that to her, success was closing the business because it wasn't needed anymore. And I wondered if you had a similar outlook to that. And if so, do you think it's realistic?
So I say exactly the same thing. So yes, success is no more need for brand advance. It is realistic. I will have sold well before then, so it won't affect my life or my kids' kids, hopefully. But we're not there yet. But yeah, like, you don't need a specialist agency to help you reach Black people, you know, or specialist. Your whole blocking, yes, it is legal. Well, nobody's challenged it enough to ask if it's not legal. Question that just popped up about keyword blocking. It's a good question. Yeah, so you shouldn't need a specialist to help you to do marketing because your agency would already do that. But while we work, and we mostly work with the agencies rather than the brands direct now, whilst they catch up and whilst they can learn from the things we do and use the data that we've got, etc., then we're going to be relevant. But one day you won't need that. You'll just have agencies that do what the word agency should do, which is help any of their brands reach everyone.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, we've got a few questions from the audience. We're probably not going to have time to get through all of them, but we'll get through as many as we can. So we've got a question from Deborah, who says that because diversity is such a wide area, how do you ensure that your brand or business is truly diverse? She said that she's a white female in her 50s, but she's also gay and disabled. She mentions that disabled people have been dying for years at the hand of various areas, but disabled people haven't had their kind of George Floyd moment. So she's asking, how do you become a good advocate for groups that you don't live with, and how do we create true diversity across the board?
Okay, I don't know the answer to creating true diversity across the board, because otherwise I'd be making sure the world did it. But I would say to just keep, it's very intersectional. And I think we just have to be the voice for the people that don't have a voice. That's the only answer I can give, because that's what I'm going to continue to do. I will always, in these privileged situations that I get, I will always talk about disability, and how there's 12.4 million people with a disability. Talk about age, because 47% of all consumer spend in the UK is made by someone 50 or above, but only 3 to 4% of advertising is spent on that age demographic. It's just mind-boggling, because a child out of school would say, well, that doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? But the great minds in marketing don't seem to have figured that out. I think that's how we do it, is we just ask great questions like that, use your platforms to push them different demographics, and to just shout for the people that can't shout.
Yeah, excellent. We've got another one from Margaret, who says, as a person of color, I do not want my products to be identified as from a Black person. I'm assuming she's referring to the entrepreneur or the founder there. As the products are created for humanity and not color graded, how do I make sure that my product intentions are clearly communicated without showing bias?
Good question. So just, can you read it again? Do you mind?
Yeah, sure. And so they said, as a person of color, I do not want my products to be identified as from a Black person, as the products are created for humanity and not color graded. How do I make sure that my products' intentions are clearly communicated without showing bias?
Okay. From what I understand from that is that it is a Black founder that doesn't want people to think that their products are just made for Black people. They're made for everybody. Well, anybody that thinks that the Black founder only makes products for Black people, just being silly anyway, I would say. Secondly, your Blackness is your superpower, though, so don't shy away from it. For too long has the colour of our skin been a disadvantage, and now it is, by God, is it an advantage. The way that we have travelled through life means that we are looking at life differently. Our Blackness is our superpower. Our gayness is our superpower. Our difference is what makes us. And so use that. By using that doesn't mean only Black people are going to buy your product, but it is to say that this product comes from a Black person within the UK. Is not going to curtail who your product's for. Products are for everybody that could possibly find a use for that product. Make sure your marketing says that, but also make sure your marketing says, and this product was made by the superhuman that comes from this community. Don't shy away from that. Don't. I think one thing we can't complain, and I truly believe this, and some might disagree with it, but I don't think we can complain about people using white privilege, and then as society shifts to give us a bit of privilege, in that, not enough and not fast enough, don't get me wrong, but if we can now, if people are more in tune to wanting to know the culture that made said product, or what community that business comes from, we need to take advantage of that as much as the people that we might say have took advantage of white privilege. We must. So does that make sense? I hope I got that across.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was a fantastic answer. We'll just end on one final one quickly. Obviously, we're all working from home at the moment. Chances are a lot of us are going to continue to be way past the end of this pandemic. Mary asks, how can you ensure that small businesses are building a diverse and inclusive culture while everyone's working from home?
I think that is the great advantage, is you can employ someone from anywhere in the world right now. So use that. So I think building a diverse workforce, finding people from different communities is a bit easier now. Use the communication platforms that we have. Get out there, join them forums, panels like this, and speak to people afterwards. And yeah, you can pull your team from anywhere. So just that being something that you have in your arsenal now should help to build a more diverse workforce. And, go and just chuck the net wide enough. There is a Black person or a gay person or an over 50 person or a person with some form of a disability. I hate the word disability. It's not really a disability. It's a differently abled that can do the job that you're looking for. They can do that. There really is. You just got to chuck the net out wide enough. Sometimes you find them and sometimes you don't. But chuck it out wide enough so that if they are out there from any demographic, that you will be able to find them.
Excellent. And unfortunately, I think we've got to leave it there time-wise. But Chris, thank you so much for the past. Coming up to 50 minutes. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been wonderfully insightful, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone who's joined us. It's been really, really fantastic. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And with that, I'll pass back over to Chloe. Thank you.
Chris, this has been a fantastic session and we've had so many positive messages in the comment section. Thank you for joining us today and for sharing your expertise and knowledge. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Your difference is your superpower, so get out there and use it. That's what made you the special person you are, and it's what makes your business the special business it is, and it's what will make you different to the other products out there. So go and use your superpower.
Thank you, Chris. Our next Lightbulb session will be at the same time next week with Johnny Patterson, as he'll be discussing building a global brand in a Brexit world. If there is anything you'd like to catch up on from today's session, we'll be sending out a replay of this recording later on today. You can find the replay and future sessions at www.lightbulb-sessions.haysummit.com. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you again, Chris and John.